For over 400 million years, sharks have been the apex predator of the oceans. In that time, dinosaurs evolved and became extinct, and by comparison, anatomically modern humans only arose around a few 100,000 years ago. So, it's fitting that a brand that helped create some of the earliest dive watches should take its name from the shark, a champion of evolution.
Today, diving watches are the most popular style of watch, but that would not have been possible without Squale's founder, Charles von Buren. He helped pave the way in creating what we now know as the dive watch.
Charles von Buren was a passionate watchmaker who began exploring ideas for how to create a true dive watch after he attended a diving event during the infancy of recreational and professional scuba diving. The company now known as Squale was founded after World War II under the name Von Buren SA Fabrique de Montres. At the time, it was a common practice for the larger Swiss watch brands to outsource a substantial portion of their production to specialist smaller manufacturers, including movements and, for some, the watch case itself. This practice ensured that the finished watch would have a higher level of quality, as each of these specialists had a mastery and a focus in one particular area of expertise. And when it came to making dive watches, nothing was as important as the water resistance of a case the watch would be built around.
So Andrea, you've positioned yourselves geographically in Switzerland, but very close to Italy. And obviously you're a Swiss brand, but an Italian with Italian roots.
I think that Lugano here, this area, is a perfect combination of Swiss making watches tradition, but in the same time give us the possibility to keep our Italian soul here, because we are very close to Italy. We are Italian. Italy means the sea.
Yes.
The Mediterranean Sea with so many different colors. I always, when I go, I love the sea, I love diving, I love swimming.
Sure.
And when I go, I always see the sea, the different colors. It's like something that I want to try in a watch.
What set Squale apart from the competitors was real-world diving and testing experience, which occurred just a few hours north of the border here in Switzerland. An experienced diver, von Buren excelled far beyond his rivals, relentlessly testing each new watch case in the natural environments of the Mediterranean and here at the renowned Lake Neuchâtel in the heartland of the Swiss watchmaking industry.
In Lake Neuchâtel, the largest lake located entirely in Switzerland, where von Buren would develop watches not only for the most prestigious Swiss watch companies in the world, but also for his own independent brand. And in 1959, Squale was registered as the brand name we know today.
Monique, tell us a bit about your father. What was he like?
He was a good man, friendly, very happy to be alive and loving people of any kind.
And adventurous too.
Yes, he was. He was very curious of everything new.
Yes, including diving.
That was very interesting for him, yes.
Yes.
Because it was new and he had to discover.
Amazing. And he encouraged you and your brother to
Yes,
go out.
he asked my brother and me if we didn't want to dive, because he thought it would be a good thing for us to discover the diving.
Really? Just to do
Just
something?
to test and to see if we'd like it.
Fantastic. Tell us a bit about when you first went diving. What was it like in Neuchâtel?
In Neuchâtel it was the lake was quite dirty in those days, but it was very interesting. And the first time we dived, I saw a trumpet, I saw a bicycle, and it was really funny for me because I didn't know that there were so many things under the lake, but fishes and algae.
When someone was riding a bicycle playing a trumpet and fell in, perhaps. Amazing, amazing. And very cold, I should imagine.
It was quite cold, yes. Yeah. As soon as it was in spring, it begins to come better, but usually it's 10 degrees. But if you go to 10 or 20 meters, it's 4 degrees.
Yeah.
And it was wetsuits.
Eventually you came to establish the Maison de Plongeur.
Yes, because we had our material in old houses, and they destroyed the houses because they were too old. So we had to build a new house, and it began with La Maison du Plongeur.
As you can see, Lake Neuchâtel is famed for its picturesque and panoramic views. But aside from its breathtaking exterior, it also has a maximum depth of 152 meters and relatively stable conditions, perfect for testing and experimenting with new timepieces. Sitting here, you get a sense of what it must have been like taking those first early steps with what was then groundbreaking and brand new technology, long before the invention of modern diving computers and, of course, quartz watches.
The states gave us a piece of land, and then we were looking for money to build a house.
And it became the epicenter of diving in Switzerland. I mean,
yes, it was the first.
You built it, but that then brought in, your father was at the vanguard of all that, but all the lots of other Swiss brands came in, and that's when it really became amazing.
The von Buren family made history and set a precedent unseen by smaller independent brands by developing watches that rivaled the biggest names in the industry. Von Buren quickly recognized the importance of the minute hand when using it in conjunction with the dive timing bezel, and decided to make it as bright and visible as possible. It was here that the distinctive neon orange minute hand was born, a characteristic like many belonging to the dive watch that we take for granted today. It may seem simple to us now, but for dive watches of that era, it was revolutionary. Von Buren then introduced 3 types of watches that would become the backbone of the brand and a foundation that has continued to this very day. The renowned Squale 1521, the Squale 2002 with its unique push-to-unlock bezel, and most important of all, the aptly named Squale Master.
First produced in the late 1960s, the Squale Master was Squale's first 1,000-meter dive watch and the biggest breakthrough for the brand thus far. With its sleek, elegant curves, Bakelite bicolor rotating bezel, luminescence and screw-in crown to maintain its impressive depth rating, it achieved well-deserved recognition and praise as a brand worn by world champion freedivers and spearfishing athletes of the era.
The success of the Squale Master and the aforementioned collections would allow Squale to launch the brand on a greater commercial and global scale. Throughout the 1960s, Squale sponsored several international sports competitions. Due to their well-earned reputation for excellence, along with their recognition for reliability and safety, Squale watches were worn by many of the top divers and world record holders of the time, including Enzo Maiorca, Jacques Mayol, Jean Tapu, Juliana and Maria Treliani, and the Cuban national team, winners of the 1967 World Spearfishing Championship.
Mayol was also, he came to visit you, stay for
Yes, we
for a
met
while,
him,
no?
and we met him, and he came here. Also, he was preparing one of his record, and he came in the chalet in the mountains here to make his yoga, and my father and me, we brought some food, and he was breathing and meditating. And then we made a long walk together, and then we left him there, and the next day we came, and again, and it was really beautiful.
The brand's success did not go unnoticed by the most prestigious watchmakers in the world, and Squale were once again hired to produce their watch cases. Take a look at a watch produced with a Squale case, and you will typically see the watch name brand at the 12 o'clock and the now iconic Squale shark logo printed at the 6 o'clock.
It was so desirable and highly regarded to have a watch case made by Squale that the unprecedented double logo on the dial became not only the mark of safety and reliability, but also a symbol of pride. Squale would go on to make timepieces for several elite military forces, including the Italian Air Force's Folgore Brigade and, most famously, the Marina Militare, the Italian Navy's diving corps.
Charles von Buren's passion for diving eventually led him to participate in creating one of the most esteemed diving centres in Switzerland during the 1960s. The Centre de Recherche et d'Essais Dynamiques de Changtetti, CREDE, was launched in 1967 and provided a state-of-the-art environment in which to perform standardized testing for the watch industry, a capability that was unheard of at the time. Eventually, the centre became the Maison du Plongeur, and today the site operates as a restaurant that honours its past heritage, proudly displaying its history on a plaque outside. It was here that von Buren held meetings with the leading Swiss dive watchmakers and assisted them in devising tests which were extensively carried out only a few meters away in the waters of Lake Neuchâtel. Their experiments tested watches to the very limits, as professional divers ultimately entrusted their lives to these timepieces. Aside from water resistance, depth ratings, quality and impermeability of the cases, their research included the effects of water and chemicals on a watch, how different materials behaved at varying temperatures or depths, the visibility of various designs and colours, and the ergonomics of the watch's features. These experiments were carried out in a real-world environment far beyond the limitations of a laboratory, and this style of research and development would later influence many larger brands and diving organisations to set up their own testing facilities, eventually resulting in the industry standards adopted by watch companies today.
He was working with some other people who had their brand, and they were always talking to make it better. So, the better watch.
So, yes, and also his father
Best one.
knew the knowledge from making diving watches, because he was one of the first watchmaker in making diving watches. So many companies asked him to make diving watches with their
That's
brand.
right.
The shark, the logo was a diver, real diver.
It was a good reference.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was a good reference.
When
Yes, a point of pride, I think, for a lot
That's
of people.
right. Yeah.
It's because I understand that a lot of the manufacturing was done around here.
Yes.
What are some of the key locations?
It was all around here in the mountains and here.
The short phone.
Sure, the point, yeah.
It's very close here, the center of watchmaking here in Switzerland. All the big companies are here, and there is the knowledge here. Huh?
Yes, they have a knowledge, because in winter, in the old days, all the farmers had to close and to do something else than farming, and so they were doing things on watches, building, putting the little pieces and sending them to the factory.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so it was everything kind of came from
all
literally
over
around
here.
Yes, yes.
From the neighborhood.
Your father used to give also the watches to professional diver, no? And
Yes,
writing letters.
to test them here in France, in Italy, and the people they dived and they looked and they could say if the watch was a good one.
Because of course the Marina Militare.
Marina in Italy, also famous diver now, Mayol.
And Jacques Mayol and Enzo Mallorca were our friends, and they all had a Squale watch.
Neuchâtel is not only the birthplace of the modern dive watch as we know it, but also the ancestral home to the aristocratic von Buren family for over 500 years. Charles von Buren took direct inspiration from his family's heraldry. The crown found above the Squale shark logo was inspired by the crown in the von Buren family's coat of arms. The letters VON represent the family name, and thus are linked to Neuchâtel and von Buren's noble heritage. Positioned directly above the shark logo, they convey the brand's mastery over the forces of nature, represented by the apex predator. The crown is also a symbolic reminder of tradition, legitimacy, and divinity, as if to say that Charles von Buren achieved his destiny, manifested in the watches that proudly display his signature logo today. Speaking with Monique von Buren, one gets a true sense of her father's adventurous spirit and how it lives on today within her and the Squale brand.
You haven't lost your passion for diving. I understand you still. I think you said earlier you were diving just the other day somewhere. Is that right?
Yes. I began to dive when I was 14, and I went on and on until 10 days ago. I still dive, and I'm very happy. I am 75.
Wonderful. That's incredible. So your father was right.
Yes, he was really right.
Wonderful.
I'm thankful.
In 1970, renowned diver Jacques Mayol set a historic freediving record in Japan, reaching a depth of 76 meters while wearing a Squale watch. Mayol, whose life story inspired Luc Besson's 1988 film Le Grand Bleu, was a friend of the von Buren family and lived with them for some time. Another significant friendship that developed during this time was between the von Buren family and the Maggi family from Milan, who managed distribution of the Squale brand. This allowed Charles von Buren to focus on what he did best: continually develop superior and increasingly effective dive watches.
When did your father meet Andreas?
It was in the 60s. I used to come with my father and my mother to visit their family here in Ottori, and also in the chalet here.
Yes,
very
we
nice
had a chalet
fantastic,
in the
good made
mountains.
in the mountain, Tederan.
Yeah, Tederan.
Tederan.
Wonderful. Did you go diving with them?
No, I was too young for this,
Oh,
this
okay.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember also when you married, all the people.
Yes, all the divers came with the fins to make a roof for the
Oh, wow.
Yes.
for us too when we
Amazing.
came out from the church. Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Used to go also to Isola del Giglio for diving. Many
Yes,
times.
we went often to Italy, Isola del Giglio. We first went to Elba and then Isola del Giglio. It was wonderful.
This close friendship between the two families and their desire to conquer even deeper depths brought them, along with Jacques Mayol, to the island of Giglio, off Italy's Tuscan coast. It was here that Charles von Buren continuously tested and created his final watch, the 300-meter rated Tiger model. Introduced in 1988, the Tiger was the culmination of everything that had come before, but with unique new features and an exceptional ergonomic design, including the knurled back that allowed for better grip to prevent the watch from slipping off the wetsuit, and Squale's slimmest, self-winding mechanical movement yet. The dial itself was highly unusual, with large markers from 9 to 2, specially designed for better readability during night dives. But most impressive of all was a locking mechanism incorporated into the bottom side of the right lug, featuring a red button that allowed the wearer to unlock a bidirectional rotating bezel to avert any accidental and potentially dangerous shifts in its position.
Following nearly 4 decades of pioneering work with diving watches, Charles von Buren retired in the early 1990s, leaving Squale in the trusted hands of the Maggi family. By this time, their devoted friendship and professional working relationship made them the perfect choice to continue this illustrious brand. And in 2005, Andrea Maggi stepped up to lead the brand and take it into the 21st century. So Andrea, do you have a favorite Squale watch?
This question is like asking me if I have a favorite child. I mean, I love them all. It's a difficult question for me. I found something interesting in every single watch we made because every watch means so many efforts, so many time working on one project that it's difficult to say I prefer one and or the other. For instance, today I'm wearing the 1000 meter with the special edition that was made for the Italian diving police named Polipetto, no? It means octopus. It's a watch that means a lot to me because this is one of the first watches that Squale started making in the past, in the 60s.
With the resurgence of the vintage watch trend, Squale's first move was to bring back their classic designs, but with new modern materials and contemporary Swiss manufacturing to ensure an even higher standard of quality. By 2017, the brand was very much back in action, earning a devoted following and becoming available worldwide for the first time in its history, with both online and in-store sales via official retailers. That same year, the brand saw further success with the debut of the Squale Octopus at Baselworld. A unique iteration of the 2002 model, it was especially made for the Italian police diving unit and named after the department's logo, a small octopus. This prestigious partnership reinforced the dedication to quality and safety, values that have always been at the core of Squale's philosophy. Presently, the octopus is included in the official equipment of the CNES divers in La Spezia, Italy.
We have a very, very, very special relationship. Now I can say it's a sort of friendship also, because they are extremely competitive, also extremely, they know exactly what they want. They are really professional. They work for an important place in Italy, and they also have a special diving school where they teach the technical improvement to other police around the world. They're coming from many other parts of the world in La Spezia. It's very, very interesting.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Many more collaborations would follow. Perhaps the greatest example is a watch born from a partnership with one of the most distinguished Italian brands in subaqueous technology, the Squale Dras Galeazzi, which launched in 2021. This limited edition 500-meter diver was based on the iconic Squale Master case, but specially upgraded with an automatic helium escape valve and designed with a vintage aesthetic to reflect the historic roots of Dras Galeazzi, a prolific manufacturer of diving equipment, military hardware and submarines since the 1920s.
This also is another story to tell, is another important step in our Squale story, I can say.
These are things that are very hard to achieve, aren't they? They require incredibly high standards.
Squale isn't just about honouring its glorious past. In order to stay relevant, the company had to push ahead and continue to innovate. Every few years, their research and development team experiments with new materials, and one of its best examples is the T183 from 2019, which was available for a limited period of time. The first version, presented in 2019, was composed of alternating layers of ultra-strong yet lightweight carbon and fiberglass, deliberately designed to be as comfortable as possible by dramatically cutting down the total weight, but simultaneously ultra-corrosion resistant. The T183 was unlike any other watch in its aesthetic. Carbon is naturally black or dark grey, and its use in combination with blue or red fiberglass to highlight the beauty of the case made the watch completely unique. This exceptionally challenging manufacturing technique proved that Squale was still at the top of its game when it came to the production of new and innovative watch cases utilising carbon.
Tell us, how has Squale changed over the years?
The main changes are due of the result of the research in the material used in making dive watches. These new technologies and diving improvement compel us to be always at our best. The most difficult things, or the challenge, is to maintain the quality level in every decision the company makes in Squale development. And Squale is not interested in trends or getting on with fashion, but instead we have to continue to keep our value and special history and legacy.
Squale continues to innovate when it comes to modern marketing techniques. They were one of the first Swiss brands to produce a limited edition watch in collaboration with social media influencers and dive watch forums, back as early as 2017. At the time, this was completely unheard of, but it proved their eagerness to embrace a dynamic and ever-changing online world.
In 2019, Squale celebrated its 60th anniversary at a special ceremony attended by Andrea Maggi and Monique von Buren. To commemorate this significant occasion, the brand released their latest collection with the Sub 39. Unlike the majority of Squale watches that have roots based on designs from the 1970s and 80s, the Sub 39 took inspiration from some of the earliest cases ever produced by the brand during the infancy of dive watches in the 1950s and early 60s. While the originals were available in a much smaller size, at 34mm in diameter, the new Sub 39 was modernized into a more accessible 39mm, giving the watch its name. The stylish curves, contemporary materials, vintage-style features and more sophisticated scale all position the Sub 39 as more of an everyday timepiece, while still being everything that Squale is about. A truly capable dive watch with an impressive 300-meter water resistance. A few years later, Squale produced a GMT variation, further solidifying the celebration of its glorious past with a practical, do-it-all watch for the modern watch enthusiast. Just as in its early days when von Buren was pushing the boundaries of watchmaking, today Squale continues the long tradition of supporting athletes in achieving their dreams. In 2020, Squale launched a partnership with Vincenzo Ferri, a multi-medal winning European and international freediving champion, and member of the freediving Italian national team. Widely regarded as one of the best Italian freedivers, Ferri is a talented and inspirational athlete whose record-breaking achievements and connection to the sea make him the ideal collaborative partner for Squale.
I'm very proud of many people now writing us about their, sharing with us their experience, diving experience while wearing a Squale. Many people also asking us collaboration, or also they ask for research. There are people that are interested in making new research connected to the diving world, watch enthusiasts as well. And this for me is a big, I'm very proud, I'm very happy of this, because it means that we are working and the people love our job, our efforts.
Speaking with Andrea Maggi, it's clear that Squale's partnerships are profoundly important to the brand and to him personally. This remarkable company's legacy and connection to the sea goes far beyond watches. Today, Squale is riding high, maintaining its great heritage, its traditions, but above all, its independence.
Unlike the mainstream brands many people think of when one mentions Swiss watches, there is an authenticity here. A profound feeling of family that runs as deep as the seas that have inspired Squale for generations. It is for this reason that a well-respected leader and innovator in the world of underwater technology like Dras Galeazzi would choose Squale as their official watchmaker. Today, Squale has an almost cult-like following. Its devoted fans include watch lovers from across the globe, Olympic athletes, professional divers and aficionados in the know, who all want something more than just another reissue from an uninspired corporation.
Andrea, what's the future for Squale?
I see Squale grow internationally. It should remain a niche brand. Anyway, I'm very confident for the future because we are building a strong team around me, and I can see I'm the present now, in order to face the challenges of the future, the growing market, the growing world. We must keep under control our value, our legacy, our extremely competitive price, the quality, everything that gives Squale the feeling of freshness and pioneering. And we have the same passion as Mr. von Buren. This is very important, and this is the soul of Squale for the future.
Just as with the very first watches Squale produced over half a century ago, today they continue to be expertly manufactured by hand and hand-assembled in Switzerland. It's becoming increasingly rare to find a company working in this way today, honouring what it truly means to be Swiss-made in quality. This harmonious balance of tradition and their own distinctive style, while always forging ahead, culminates in a heritage brand unlike any other.
I think my father was admiring the Squale family, the sharks family, because they are so supple, so perfect for the speed, and perfect, in fact, something's perfect in nature. And maybe he decided to take that name because he wanted perfect watches.
Squale continues to be a dynamic watchmaker with continuous innovation, simultaneously committed to giving the wearer a personal feel that the mainstream brands simply cannot replicate. Like its namesake, the shark, Squale is always boldly moving forward, undaunted by any challenge within the uncharted waters of horology, making them a true champion of dive watch evolution.
We're focusing on a new project of a new Squale that, of course, is always a link between the past and the future. And I hope the people will follow us, and our collectors, our professional diver amateurs will follow us with the same enthusiasm as always. I'm very happy to share all this with all the people in the world.
The future of Squale will be as long and exciting as its past. As a wearer of their timepieces, one truly feels their passion and connection not only to the sea or to Switzerland and Italy, but to Von Buren's enduring, pioneering spirit as well. It's a rare and beautiful thing that a brand like this still exists today.